alleged extraterrestrial species, including greys, reptilians, insectoids, Nordics, and then even hybrids too. Because remember, there was that documentary by Craig Campobasso where he talked about greys, reptilians, hybrids, and Nordics. And so the hybrids are definitely a thing too. As disclosure accelerates, what impact is it having on the collective consciousness? Is humanity being psychologically prepared for a larger revelation? And how do starseeds, light workers, and spiritually awakened souls navigate this rapidly shifting timeline? Pink Bella Aloha is a multidimensional teacher, healer, and Galactic Akashic Records guide known for helping people align with their soul mission and higher consciousness path during this planetary transformation. Her work focuses on Galactic Akashic Records, timeline navigation, and 5D ascension, healing, dragon divine goddess codes, DNA awakening and chakra systems, energy clearing and karmic release, new earth consciousness. Tonight's conversation may include live intuitive insights, multidimensional guidance, and discussions surrounding the energetic effects of global disclosure events. And I'm going to bring her up on stage right now. And thank Pink Bella. We're live right now. Thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Good. I'm feeling a lot better. Like I said, I took a hot shower before the show and I just let the steam hit my head. I have to get a new shower filter though, I you can tell when they're like they put chlorine in our water here or something,
I know.
It's really like, I mean, it's not just fluoride. It's like they're actually putting, I don't know why they're doing that,
So you know what? It worked out perfectly because I was running behind because I woke up this morning. We usually have a show at 1. So I wasn't thinking properly. So it's all good. Hi, everyone. Aloha. Super grateful to be here. And Rob's been interviewing like lots of souls even since Friday. Is Jason going to join us today or is he in the comments or?
He never said he wanted to, maybe he's not feeling well or something.
Oh, that's so, okay. Yeah. So
he'll be in the comments,
Yeah. Jason, if you pop in, you're like the file researcher. So if you have any specific questions for us today, like for sure. And all of you, like if you have questions about what Rob and I are talking about, place it in caps so we can see, because we really want to dive into what's been released so far. And if anyone has any questions, today is like the best day.
But what I was saying is it's weird. Like I've gotten this before where I've gotten a cold in the summer. Have you gotten that? Like it's weird to get a cold in the summer, but
there's air particles right now. Do you remember when we talked last week and I had like that interaction with the Anunnaki energy and I started coughing out of nowhere?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of, when I do a scan for client sessions, I've got like 88 keys that I work on, some to do with implants, some to do with like energetic things. And I've got 4 airborne particle things that come up for people. They come up a lot, like they'll just come up out of nowhere because we're dealing with a lot of unknowns, right? Where in all categories. So like you could have just breathed something in that just came in the area, or maybe yesterday or something, right?
Yeah, I've noticed I've been coughing a lot more too. I tried to cut back on smoking and anything that would like cause me to be, like I just want to.
No, you brought up a good point. So when we just start, sometimes when we cough and we sneeze, we're like our immune system is trying to fight something, but a lot of it's airborne particles. And that actually came in like the first, so I have 88 points now. That came in the first 15 points because there have been a lot of airborne infiltration scenarios since 2020.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just what they, put out there in fear and then, thinking that there was this thing going on, but there was also a lot of airborne particles. And often when I scan clients, it'll come up as allergies, but the allergy is actually to some type of airborne particle. It could be shedding. It could be like, I think they're releasing, it could be the chemtrails, could be all sorts of things. And again, for entertainment purposes only, but there's all right. So when I had a little bit of a coughing thing yesterday too. And I think that they've been trying various things that they're saying is like a viral thing. So when one doesn't work, they brought in another one. I'm looking at this other one they're bringing in right now. And I'm like, I'm not even paying attention to it, but I think it's a good point for us to talk about. Yeah. Like smart dust, right? Rodney Letterman said smart dust. Yeah, exactly. And it could very well be connected to so many data centers popping up all of a sudden. And I sent you something yesterday. They're having a big protest in Vancouver yesterday. They want to put 2 in Vancouver.
Wow.
And one of my feelings is that they're already here. A lot of them are already built and already here, and they're just kind of making announcements. Anyway, you share. What do you want to share?
They're doing it here. They're doing 2 here. They're building one in the town where I live in the town next, and they're doing it very sneakily. It's like they're not telling anybody they're building them, then they're building them, and then they're trying to lie. Like these like heads of big tech are like trying to say that it's gonna do good, it's gonna provide a lot of jobs for the economy and stuff like that. But like, and what's the cost? You know what I mean? It's like the whole degradation of society just to like fulfill like, information processing, which is not even which is not even the real reason why they're there. Like I had Sonia Testerman on my show the other day, and she thinks that the reincarnation cycle will be looped into the data centers.
I saw that. I only got a chance to watch a couple of the clips you sent me because I was so busy yesterday, but I want to go back and watch what she has to share because I feel because of all my time in tech, like it would make a lot of sense for me because I worked on a lot of data center projects way back in the day, like 20 years ago. So they were already pushing data centers back then. So if we think about, they're telling us they're doing it now, but I feel like they're already set up and they're just building bigger facilities and moving stuff. So that's what was happening. Like I went through this time frame when I worked. I worked for a very large global bank and I worked on all these global projects. Like it was cool at the time, but I also learned so much about what we couldn't say when I was in these meetings. I'd be in the meetings going, we're doing what? We're moving data where? So I worked on a lot of data center projects where we moved a lot of data out of this country into other areas on the planet. And they were already doing that, right? So we didn't know about AI back then. We didn't know that AI was already a thing. It's been around for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they were already preparing the data back then, you think? Like they were already...
Well, I'm thinking about that. We can look into the records for that because I'm thinking that AI has been a version of AI has been around for hundreds of years. Yeah. Because when I've looked at it, it's either off-planet technology mixed in with technology left over from Atlantis that they can time travel to and go and access, right? So yeah, and I'm getting my head pressure, which means that's true. So I didn't know. I mean, I took an AI programming course in the 80s, but I thought that was way in the future. But why would they already be introducing AI programming in the 80s if it wasn't already a thing?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's I mean, some people think AI is ancient, like it's been here for our whole...
I think it's a mixture of both because I think when we think ancient, we think past timelines, but all the timelines work like in parallel. And in actual fact, a lot of memories are coming forward about the fall of Atlantis with all this technology, which we wouldn't have had beforehand because we didn't have the technology here on the planet. Yeah. So we wouldn't have if I go back like the Wayback Machine to 83, 4 when I took that programming course, I thought that was way in the future. But now looking at it, I'm going, oh, they were already using it because my very first job in a tech company, like a development company that I had head office in California, the internet was already around. They were already like universities and tech companies were already using the internet in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right. So if I could go in the Wayback Machine and talk to my programmer people, probably have all sorts of stories to tell me. But the data centers were huge already in, I'm going to say late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of tech companies and a lot of companies in general were building these big data centers all around the world. They said to save money, but for all I know, I mean, who I was working for at the time, no AI. We did not have AI because the financial companies took a long time to catch up. They were really far behind with technology. But I would say like something like Microsoft, yeah.
Wow. It's crazy that we've been lied to this, and it seems like maybe they were like waiting until this time to like implement this stuff, or maybe they had a plan in mind to do this a certain way, or the way they were going to roll it out, or something like that.
Yeah. Was it one of your guests, or did I watch it on another podcast where people are assuming that the data centers are actually just a front for something else?
Oh, front for multiple things,
Yeah, like very large surveillance, as well as multiple other things. You and I have been looking at AI for at least a couple of years now, and I think initially, it looks like there's a lot of potential for jobs. But now I'm thinking, well, I don't know. A lot of people are getting hired to help like train the AI. and train the robots, and then they're going to be made obsolete anyway, right? So I think it's going to be short-term jobs. I don't think it's going to benefit humanity that much.
Yeah. Jason got offered a job. I wanted to show this thing you sent me. I mean, so she sent me this guy. Oh, it's about Aaron Brockovich. Is that her real name? It says Aaron Brockovich unveils data center tracking map. 1,690 complaints filed in just 1 week. Residents from 47 states are reporting concerns over water contamination, soaring utility costs, nonstop noise, e-waste, and PFAS pollution tied to massive data centers. The woman who took on the PG&E is now taking aim at big tech infrastructure, and I don't know why it's not showing it, but I mean, you know,
I can see it a little bit, yeah. And I was in big research, just so you all know, I was in big research mode this morning, so I just started sending Rob some things because he's had a lot of people on talking about data centers or data centers. Like, I know there's a different verbiage. I think if that's what she's doing, so that to me, and then there was something in our news yesterday about Vancouver, about protests. So I think the regular collective is really on board with this. Yeah. Like, they might not be ready for the alien UFO information, but they're definitely aware of the AI and the robots and the data centers taking over information. Yeah.
There's like stages to waking up. You know what I mean? I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you guys call it a data center or data center?
I could call it either or. You know what I mean? I just call it trouble. You know, it's what it is. Like, I mean, it's like unneeded trouble in our world. You know, I feel like I honestly don't. I don't see any benefit to them. You know what I mean? I just see them as a nuisance and like, you know, like, I don't know. They take up a lot. Apparently the AI needs water as well, which would be right back in there with, is it the solar panels? Same thing. Solar panel, and the turbines, like there's a lot of these sort of, you know, technologies that apparently are supposed to be better for us, but they're absorbing our water and using our water. And the thing is that we need the water. As humans, we need the water. If we don't have water, we can't survive, because we are water and we need hydration. So does the plant, so does the tree, so do the animals. So I started looking into, as part of, these, what do they call the 15-minute city thing? And maybe that's what the data centers are all about. Maybe it's still that timeline. Funny. It's like the people who are in control of this world are like the people, at least, who are higher up, the billionaires, the techies, and so you'd think that some of these people have like great educations and stuff like that, but they don't make the best interest for the public. I think 2 reasons: because they have alternative evil intentions in mind, and 2, I just think honestly they might be like common sense dumb, because like some of this stuff just does not make sense. So people would be like, well, if you're that educated and you're rolling out something that's going to hurt people, and it's going to hurt people, why would you do it? Well, the reason is because they have an evil intention in mind, and money. Yes. Yeah, and money. Yeah, that's a good point. Money. Yeah.
And I saw, do you ever watch any of those little videos when people use the dowsing rods and they ask questions? Yeah. So I saw one this morning, and one of the very famous people who was involved with Microsoft, I'm not going to say his name, it's not human. So that's the thing. So that's the unfolding of. That's why I sent Rob we want to talk about the 4 alien types.
Real quick, I'm sorry. I mean, who is Erin Brockovich? Is that her name, or is that?
I think that's her name, and there was a very famous movie made with Erin Brockovich, and I think Julie Roberts played her, and it was a very famous woman who she worked on the contamination of water in one of the Midwest towns. I think it might have been in Michigan. Anybody in the chat, do you remember Erin Brockovich, or can you look it up?
Let us know. Is she still around? And
I guess.
She unveiled that's interesting. I wanted to show you this too. We got a good comment from Tommy Truthful TV. He says, "Hey Rob, check out how much water it takes to cool the super AI quantum computers they're running now. This thing is guzzling all of our water. Wow, that's insane."
It is insane. And I saw an ad the other day. I'm not even sure if I can remember his name. I think his name is Rick Steves. He was a famous funny guy in Canada. He's retired now, but they rolled him out to do like a funny bit about data centers and quantum. I mean, it made me laugh, but I remember thinking, okay, they're getting desperate because they rolled you out of retirement. Yeah. And he even made a joke of like, I don't even know what quantum is, but I'm sure we're crushing it, which is true. Like, no one knows what they're doing. And he literally was walking around like this white generic data center. with
Wow.
like a red robot thing moving things around. Like it was very much a message from them. So we really still have two major timelines running, everybody. Like we have the elite Illuminati take over the world timeline, and then we have the other timeline where we have the benevolence trying to assist us. So we're not out of the troubled waters yet, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. Yeah, but like I guess we could get into like the main topic of today. I mean, I didn't think we were going to really get into it, but I'm glad we do touch on it because I think the data
Yeah.
center is really important. Like it's definitely. But we were going to talk about the UFO files and what's going on with that. What is your initial reaction?
I'm just writing out about the data centers because I think for our next show we should dive into that too and take a look at it, because we'll probably have more information about that too. So apparently there seems to be protests all around the world. Just to wrap that up, for sure. Yeah. I would think that I was happy about what came out because at least I saw that they rolled out like newer film footage, like from 2023, 24, 25. Some of it was hokey, but some of it was intelligent, like some intelligent formations. So I just have a couple of things to look at. What did you think about it? What did you and
I mean, there was some stuff that was like, I mean, me and Jason did a video. We went over 3 hours worth of the footage, and like we didn't see anything amazing. We saw some decent stuff, but like there's a lot of stuff to go through. But then I saw a content creator I watch. He does a lot of political content, but he does conspiracy too. His name's Jesse on Fire, and I originally started following him because he does like UFC coverage. But anyway, he showed a video of like this like shimmering like walking man, like it was like a silver like walking man in the air. It was like very bizarre. Did you see that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And I now, was that in the files? I think something sort of came up in the files because somebody did a comparison of, there have been reports of that shimmering individual around the planet the last few years.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I can't say or no because I'm not sure, but I think it did come in the files because he was covering, like people were saying it's finally some real like, good like stuff, like
yeah. I was on your live for a little bit, but it was Friday and I needed to go out and do a couple things. So I was there for a little while, but I'm glad you guys all went through it. So yeah, Jason, if you pop on, let us know what you want us to look at. But and I did see like it looked like maybe from planes above where they saw the discs like flying through the clouds. So I saw one or two that were quite good. Definitely an improvement from the first round. And the other thing when I've been doing research is, so there was the committee that was created last year looking into all the UFO and the UAPs. So they are the ones that also have been initiating trying to get the files. And a few of them have stepped forward saying that there's been no direct way, like all of the 3-letter agencies that have been guarding this information do not want to give it up.
Wow, yeah.
So they've had to go like through back doors to even get what they've had so far, but they're determined to continue to bring forward whatever everybody wants. Yeah, there's a whole group of them. So love and light to all of them that they're protected because they're really, the people who own the information, they don't want it out because they control it. They want to still control the narrative with the public, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it seems like, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I don't know, like I'm like questioning it, like because then they came out with the alien races and we were going to talk about that and I'm like, why are they've never been transparent about that ever. So what are they trying to, unless there's really like a faction like Gary Cassidy says and everybody talks about like these white hats that like really want people, disclosure, like but like, yeah, I don't know.
We can. I know. Well, you're skeptical, and you should be. And of course, it's coming through like the government. But how else? I mean, I guess they would be the only ones to actually get the files released from these 3-letter agencies because they've been sealed up for years, right? We think back to the sightings, like in so it's so interesting because even before Roswell, there were other sightings. Yeah. Roswell just became very famous because of what happened and how many people saw it. But that was it. And I even saw there was a line in one of the X-Files shows saying, no, Roswell was a smokescreen. And someone else said that too.
Yeah, there was. I've had on. I got to think of his name. I mean, okay, so he's friends with Jim Goodall. His name's.
Oh, cool.
Oh God, he's. This is very important because, well, okay. Michael Schratt, that's his name. Yeah, I've had Michael Schratt on my show. He's an aerospace engineer. You should get him on your show. I can connect you with him. And like him and Jim Goodall, they talk about like UFOs. But anyway, Michael Schratt provides all the crash landing cases of all the crash landings that happen throughout time. And there's literally been, supposedly there's been hundreds of cases. And he provides sources from Leonard Stringfield's UFO crash resource book that was made in like I think the 70s, 80s, or 90s or something like that. But that's just showing like even then in the 90s there were already like hundreds of like UFO crashes. You know what I mean? It's like so I'm for whatever reason, like you said, Roswell just became like the go-to or whatever, you know?
Well, I think they started to use Roswell as the cover-up point.
Yeah.
Because some of what I've noticed is, and I've been sharing all this because I think it's super cool. Like in some of the files that have been released, I don't know if it's been in this batch, but maybe the first, they've been releasing newspaper clippings, like front pages of newspapers where they actually had the discs and they had titles saying, flying discs seen, in this area. So that used to be news, and it used to be really cool news, and everyone accepted it. And then they went into like an MK Ultra thing to brainwash us all to think like, no, there's nothing. No, it doesn't matter what you say or do. So we can look at a couple things. I looked at some of it on my channel yesterday and on Friday, and there's multiple agendas going on. We don't really know who to trust right now, but I feel like the narrative of this committee wanting to get the information out so the public can look at it themselves is important. I think that's very historic. It's important because otherwise we'd be waiting another 60 years and all of us will be gone and nobody will even want to talk about it anymore. But then the other really cool piece is they are getting everyone to talk about it. I saw, he's a well-known fellow too. I'm not really good with names today either, but he said this is like a piece, like they're going to keep doing these steps. And then eventually there's going to be an announcement and with some like decent footage. So this is just like dropping information, seeing how the public reacts, dropping the information, seeing how the public reacts. And then the fact that last week was a huge week because last week was then they announced on Fox News. And I think they've been talking about the files every single day, including the 4 types of aliens on the mainstream media, which I think is hilarious. And then they've been there was also your commander-in-chief released a couple of images, one with a tall gray alien in handcuffs. And it was obviously AI created, but there were men in black around him, and it looked like he was walking around a military base. And then there was also another image that was released with him. It looked like on a space station off planet. It was about Space Force, and the Earth was behind us. So we can look at this. This is what I wanted us to look at today. Was I feel they've been given an ultimatum, a timeline of. There's going to be like ships that are going to decloak. There's going to be suddenly we're going to see reptilians wandering around because they can't hold their form anymore because there's so much light coming onto the planet. So we're going to see them. And that's what I looked at on my channel yesterday. Like, is everybody going to be okay about seeing these beings? Like, it's going to freak some people out. Like, even everyone who really wants to be part of disclosure. I had the feeling of a lot of reptilian energy around my area over the weekend because we talked about this last week too. Like I get different sensations with different energies. So, and Renee was on my live yesterday too. She's on the East Coast, like near you, and she felt it over the weekend and yesterday as well.
Wow.
So that energy will trigger instant anxiety and fear.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I was looking for a good video to pull up to show some of the footage. I don't know if we'll get copyrighted, but I have some here. But I mean,
please do. I saw a couple there were some fighter jets that were chasing one of the ships as well. It looks like late 2025. I think I messaged you about something in 2024 at one point. And apparently, and this is interesting about the Apollo mission because as far as we know. All missions didn't happen. But then it got me thinking, well, maybe what they portrayed to the public didn't happen. But there was really something else that they were all working on behind the scenes that was connected to the moon. And maybe that's what the conversations were about.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from CNN. I don't know if YouTube's going to smash me with a copyright. I don't think they will. I don't know because we're not. I don't have to play the audio. I can mute.
Yeah, why don't you not play the audio? That should be okay.
Allow. I now I'm on a Mac, so like allow to share screen. Okay. Are we sharing or
Not
no?
yet. It might just be taking some time.
It just
Oh,
went out. Oh wait, show all windows, share entire screen. That's what I want to do.
cool.
Okay, we are. Okay, so it's working. Okay. So let me see here. Can you see that? Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yeah, I totally
Okay.
can see it. That's
Okay,
cool.
this is from CNN, guys. So I'm gonna mute it and we'll just see what they say. Like Pentagon drops second wave of UFO files, many still unexplained. That looks cool.
Yeah. Although it
It
kind
looks
of
like a
looks, that one
balloon.
looks like a balloon though.
Yeah. Oh my God, they blew it to pieces. I think we watched that one. I watched that one with Jason. Yeah. Like, see,
Oh,
these are. Yeah, sorry, but I was gonna say these were kind of weak. Some of these. That looks interesting. That looks like a. I don't know what.
so that's a formation. So that looks like an intelligent sort of, alien tech, really.
Yeah. That one, I think that's the one we saw that was in Syria or whatever. Or maybe that was it. We watched that one. I watched that one with Jason. Like, yeah. I guess that's the best hits from them.
Okay.
That's kind of what they I guess that's the best we're gonna get. I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't see the Shimmering Man one or whatever though. So I don't know.
When I saw it, it was very blurry.
Yeah.
So it was very blurry. So it was blurred out maybe, but someone else put two and two together and they did a side by side and they showed that it was like something that others had been filming for years. So, we really are the disclosure. Like all the brave souls that are now like doing space watching for these, for the UFOs, UAPs, and taking the images. It's just I feel like what's happening is we're getting some type of, like you're all not crazy, right? Like we actually do have information. And then we have to we can't just say the government anymore because it's not simple. It's not like the commander in chief is running all the departments. And that's what I've noticed in all of the movies and the shows. There's corruption from the word go. Like
Yeah.
there's always infighting in all of these companies anyway. And there's always been like some people are seeking the truth and others like, no, you can't do that. Like we have to protect the information. So at least we're getting somewhere. Because if we go back even to last year, there was a committee and we never thought we would get anything at
Yeah.
all. So I feel it's going to get better. I do feel it's going to get better.
Yeah. So going back to the alien races that they released, they said Greys, Reptilians, Nordics, and Insectoids, but then they've also been talking about hybrids too. Like hybrids have come up with it. So it's interesting to see that these are kind of in the what do you want to call it? Like in the atmosphere, Like
So there's two stories flying around right now. There are stories that some of them are still here. And then there's stories that they have remnants of these beings from crash sites.
wow.
So how do you want to work this? Like, what should we look at first? Because the records are open. So where do you want to go first? Do you want to look and see if that's true? Like if they have remnants?
Yeah, let's do that.
So
Yeah.
apparently, like we all knew about the Greys, but I didn't know about the Insectoids I know about the Reptilians now, but I didn't realize that maybe they have something on file from a crash.
Some people say the mantids are geneticists. That they're like the mantids are like very like high end and geneticists. I've heard.
Yeah, and I've heard they're new to me. Like I didn't come across them until this was brought out. So, but apparently, I mean, they're in the records and my consciousness knows about them. I don't really like the way they look, but apparently they're very benevolent and they're very intelligent. Yeah, like very advanced genetics and scientists. I don't know if you knew about this, but the Nordics as well are connected to the Pleiadians. So I found that out as well. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I liked how I don't know did you watch the Fox News? Because I liked how he said that they all kind of looked like us, but they had different traits. I'm thinking, no, they don't. The only one that might look sort of like us is the Nordics, right? But the reptilians, they can shapeshift, but none of them really look like us for sure.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, like, and I heard like the Nordics are like 7 feet tall,
Yeah,
like, and, I
yeah.
mean, I mean, we've been hearing about these, I mean, for a long time, and I mean, like, that's what I say. It's crazy for like the regular populace to find out about this, but like we've kind of, kind of known this was a thing for like, it's just like we just need, I guess we needed validation. But for the people who are experiencers out there, the experiencers already know, you know what I mean? Because they've encountered these beings,
But they haven't been validated.
Yeah, they haven't
right.
been
So the experience is so I've only recently, I mean, I talked, I think, on our show once or twice about my experiences, but I've only recently now felt comfortable to share my experiences because you would get shunned. Like you would just be told like, no, that didn't happen. And so that's super interesting. So why don't we just as a group, first question, just ask if they do have remnants of these beings in on file from crash sites.
Yeah.
Just like in the movies, right?
Yeah.
So we have 9 of Wands, 4 of Swords. Oh, I'm getting an image from an X-Files episode. 5 of Swords, and that's a yes. The aces are always a yes, so that's a yes. So what I got from one of the X-File episodes, which I'm trying to remember, it could have been like in season 11 because they were able to go back to Roswell, where some of the Greys were alive, but they were harmed by the military.
Yeah.
Because they only wanted to examine them, right? So they were wounded. Some of them were wounded. Some of them, you can see that's like a wounded soldier. So some of them were wounded and or studied and then went into complete anxiety. I would say that would probably have been the Greys or any of the other individuals that would have been wounded or in crash sites, and it was like a little bit of a battle for them. So yes, they do. And I would specifically like to look at the reptilians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to see what they're doing about that. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So because some groups saying that they're gone, some groups saying they're still underground, some groups saying that they're still in high places. I just know when I feel their energy, and I felt their energy on the weekend, and I haven't felt their energy for a while. So yeah, let's just look at the reptilians. Why don't we just ask in general if they're still here? Yeah. Oh, now Emery Smith says yes, he has hands-on experience with that subsect. Which subsect? Please let us know. Yeah, so Emery Smith, he's been around for quite a while. I haven't watched a lot of his material, but I've seen what he's been sharing recently, and it looked like in a way he kind of took over or expanded on cosmic disclosure on Gaia after David Wilcock left. Is that correct? Do you know?
Yeah, I think so. Because he's been with Gaia. Yeah, but like David, I think Gaia's still going, which is crazy. The fact that I don't even know that they're still going, but I mean, like I think they are.
Well, I see advertisements for them, and I saw. Somehow I've joined all these UFO groups now on Facebook. I found a couple last night while I was doing research, and somebody posted a bunch of information from him. So he's still sharing a lot about that as well. He looks like he's going through it too. Like I think everyone who's involved in this unfolding and has been involved in it a long time, a lot of people are very fatigued, very tired, because everybody's been under some type of scrutiny. Yeah. Whether it's an energy interference, whether it's like feeling like you've been slogging at this information for years and not getting anywhere. People have lost their jobs, their careers, they've been told that they don't look at. We can use Bob Lazar as an example, how he was shunned for years, and then now he's got a documentary. Now he's got support, but that was years ago. Like that's from the 80s till now, right? So, and some people are no longer here.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Okay. So we asked about the reptilians. We got the Magician card, which is like a smoke and mirrors card. Like now you see them, now you don't. I'm getting head pressure, so that's my sign of like they're still here. Yeah. Their energy is still connected to the financial system. Queen of Pentacles. And then we have the 9 of Cups. I want to do clarity about that. I see. Okay, this is interesting. With all the 3 cards that I've pulled, see all the yellow? So that's our solar plexus. So that's our like wanting to control us, wanting to control like power, wanting to control our manifestations and keep us in the lower vibration. So in general, like this would be the shape-shifting card. The magician card would be them shape-shifting. And I haven't looked like specifically at how much of that energy is still here. We have the 8, like I just wanted to do some clarification. We have the 8 of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So they're being told to leave. Queen of Cups. Yeah, I don't think that they can right now. And what about like I know some factions believe that they're working with a lot of the government groups. Like there's still a split with all the groups. So as an example, your government, we think that all of these agencies, 3-letter agencies, like are under the big umbrella and that they're all working together. And I've never seen that being out of the country. I've always seen that they've always fought each other.
I just have to get my mouse real quick. Yeah. So you believe that the races are fighting each other? Like they're not working together?
No, like they like say FBI, CIA, Pentagon. Like I've never seen in anything that they've all worked together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right in that way. So there's a shift in energy with the reptilians, but it's still not. They're still here. Yeah.
Well, some people think that certain grays work for the reptilians, and then some people think the mantises are in charge. Like, they're like the head honchos. But I don't know. Like, because like if you ask like James Bartley, he'll tell you the reptilians are kind of running the show, And then there's hybrids of all races. There's hybrid, there's hybrid reptilians. There's hybrid grays. There's even hybrid mantises. Supposedly,
Yeah, and the mantises are the insectoids, right? Just so I keep on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
then
I'm
trying.
Go ahead.
Oh,
so
there's
I was,
Nordics. Yeah.
So I was thinking that the reason they rolled out these 4 right away is because they potentially could be 4 that we're going to see. That potentially many people might start seeing them.
Yeah.
Or also a potential for some of these groups might show up in their ships.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think when I've looked at the hierarchy, just from my perspective, like I learned about all of them individually, and I have different physical sensations when their energy sort of in and around the grids. But I feel like the reptilians are just doing the work down here, and they're being told what to do, but they're not the smart ones with the plan. Like they're not running the plan. They're being told to run the plan, and like they're underneath this umbrella, this hierarchy. And I feel like the Anunnaki are above them, and then the Archons would be like the Borg, and they're sort of that. I feel like I haven't looked at it really deeply, but I feel like the Archon would be connected to the big God AI that is running the Matrix.
This is a good question from Jason. He says, why does Pink think they only showed footage from adversary countries? Like, what he means is like, when we were looking at the UFO files, it seems like mostly a lot of stuff's coming up from like Syria, Iraq, like Saudi Arabia. But here's what I think. I think they're showing a lot of like warplane footage, like footage from like F-15s, whatever. And pilots are capturing these, I think. And I think like that, that's where like the majority of our operations are in the Middle East. I think that's why they showed those. They may not have a lot of footage from America. I mean, but then part of me is like, well, they've known about this for years and they've been hiding it for years, so they have to have something. You know what I mean? It's like, why are they showing the Middle East? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. What do you get from that?
I think we should ask the records and look at it. But I've got 2 ideas that are channeling through. One is a bunch of the major stargates are in the Middle East, which is really behind the problem around all of this. So there has been a lot of footage of ships over there, because I feel like even some of the stories of like other ships showing up and like disarming facilities, so that the kids on Earth don't harm each other in a big way. So so there's that piece, and then the other piece is that they wanted to show us that, but I think that there's just more activity, like what you said. I feel like there is more activity because that's where a lot of the military operations have been. And I agree, Jason, like I feel like they rolled out a bunch of that. Like even two of the main pieces that I got forward was from the Gulf and Syria to set it up, right? To set up the other pieces that are going to come forward this year. So yeah. And I think too, they want to see, I think I sent you something on Instagram about all the states and all the different UFO sightings and which ones have a higher percentage than others. Did you see that? Did I send that to you?
Let me look it up. I'll look it up.
I might have sent it to you on Instagram. Check your Instagram. So somebody came forward with a map yesterday, and it's probably old, but it was like all the different states and which states have the most sightings. And of course, I'm in one of the high areas near Washington, but there's going to be more sightings anyway. But yeah, why don't we look at that? Why did they show a lot of information from the Middle East, Syria, the Gulf area? I feel like that could have also been the predecessor for people being prepared to go on missions in the Gulf. That they would have been given a lot of declassified information about what's going on there. Yeah. So let's ask. So we have Temperance that came in. 5 of Wands. Oh, interesting. And Page of Swords. So there's been a lot of talk. Like there's been a lot of theories, a lot of talk, a lot of gossip about what's been going on in the Middle East and we've been told, right? So the narrative of the battles and and this would be like this 5 of Wands, but this is like a really soft, like it's a battle, but it's not like what they've been telling us. In other words, they've been giving us a story, and in a way they're letting us know through this batch of files that just got released to bring the Temperance, to bring the power back to if you think any of the military that were told, like, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about what you saw.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're giving the power back even to those individuals. You can come out now and start talking about it because we've released it. So I'm getting like my God bumps, my good bumps about that. So even all of those individuals who maybe went through like traumas, maybe some of the traumas were from seeing like, oh, we've been told our whole lives that this doesn't exist, and they may have had a lot of experiences. So that's interesting. So that's what came forward. So hopefully that helps, Jason. That was a good question.
Absolutely. Well. We have one. Do you want to cover? Do you take a data center question?
Yeah, I was just trying to. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that we needed to know about the 4. If you all like, please put in the comments too if you all have had experience with any of the 4 that they've talked about. Like, yeah, I'd love to know. Right? Please, and we'll look into that, because I did have clients coming for a while that went through abduction experiences with the Greys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A lot of times throughout history, like America has been prevalent with like gray alien experiences. But if you look at Australia and like other countries, like they have like a plethora of encounters with like so many different beings, but now that's becoming more prevalent here. But in the past, it seemed like, like the American populace was like only with like, or the mass of was having like a lot of gray alien experiences, and sometimes Nordics, sometimes reptilians, sometimes mantis. Like Cliff Hyde thinks the mantises are really evil, and he thinks they're trying to take over the world. But I don't know. I mean, I can't verify anything. Well,
I just got my God bumps about them. You know what? I've never looked at them. So why don't we just look at them?
Well, wait. We look at that, and I'll tell you one more thing I know about the mantises. There's different kinds of mantises. Supposedly, I think there's like a black mantis or something like that. Supposedly, there some of them are geneticists, some of them are bad, some of them are good. You know what I mean? Just like the reptilians, like people say there's bad reptilians and good reptilians. It would only make sense, right? But then they say that the aliens don't have emotions. Some people say they don't have emotions. So like, I don't know, if they're void of emotions, that's almost like a serial killer,
Hence why all the data centers and why everybody's making cray decisions, right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is like I think everyone has a piece of the truth. So I think even Cliff has a piece of the truth, but I feel like maybe he's had some experiences with some of these groups too. Right. And I feel like, what's happened to me since they released that information last week, and then I felt the reptilian energy on the weekend and yesterday, I thought, I still have to heal that piece for me. because obviously I'm having a reaction still to that energy and it's still around. And that's what I wanted to share also, everybody, that my focus right now too is to help everybody through my sessions, to help with any traumas with this information, because now that it's gone mainstream and everyone's talking about it, it means that we're very close to just having these beings kind of walking around or showing up or whatever, right? So I haven't looked at the mantids before. And you know what? I lived in Australia and I traveled in Australia a couple of times, and I'm thinking that kind of makes sense now. I probably was walking amongst all of these beings. They've got the craziest. They've got so many deadly snakes and so many deadly things there. It's a crazy. I love Australia, but it's a crazy energy. Deadly snakes, deadly spiders. Gators, all sorts of things, right? So I don't know. I mean, I could have been around all of these beings that were cloaked and wouldn't have known at all. But yeah, I think that I agree. I feel like there are hybrids. I think even on some of the alliance teams that are helping us, there's going to be different beings that are hybrids that have come over to the light to help. So it's like a reptilian would come, some of the reptilians maybe had a higher frequency, didn't want to be part of the evil plan anymore, and would have come over to the alliance to assist. And we get that from watching Star Trek and stuff as well. We've got all these different beings helping the good of everyone. So I agree with that. But you and I looked at the Anunnaki, and I know some people think that they're all evil too, but last week I got that some of them also have come over to the alliance teams to help us. They want Earth to succeed now. And is it the percentage? No. No, not yet. So yeah. So why don't we look at how do you pronounce it? Mantoids?
Mantises or insectoids or yeah.
What kind of question do we want to ask? Do we want to ask what if they're still here?
Yeah,
Are they evil? What are they doing?
Yeah, maybe all the. Well, I know we can only ask one question. I'm trying to think. Let me see here.
What about what you asked, like what Cliff High was saying, like that they're evil and they're running the world?
Yeah, let's ask that. Yeah,
because I have not looked at them at all yet. So, which means I know that they exist because they're in the records, and the records work through me based on my other multidimensional experiences. So I know that they exist. And I remember when they released these 4, I thought this is super interesting to me. This is strategic.
Yeah,
this is strategic that they've released these 4 and they've been giving us all this information about them. It's strategic for a reason. So
that's yeah.
Okay, so we have the 8 of Cups that have come forward for them. I'm just looking at them as a group. We're not splitting up anything. We're just asking as a group. Page of Pentacles, which is like a soft yes. The Magician, which is shape-shifting. So they are shapeshifters and they can move in and out of dimensions.
No. Wow.
They don't from this card, they don't like to be around the public. So they don't like to be seen. They don't like to be in large groups. And I'm hearing that they like to come out at night. So we could get, if there's any around hanging out, we could get people doing videos. And, then we don't know if it's real or AI. I don't know if I sent this to you, but somebody had taken from their apartment building, they saw something shadowy moving in an alley. And they took the video and they zoomed in and it looked like it was one of the tall grays.
Whoa.
And it was at night. So I was looking at that going, okay, that's not AI, because that individual wouldn't even have known what it was. They zoomed in because they thought it was like an animal, like a dog or something, right?
I was looking up there. I was looking up on my Instagram right now. But guys, if you see my head's down, that's why I'm looking for something. I want to show Pink Bella. There's this alien. He's on Instagram mostly, but he went on Killer Mike's podcast, Killer Mike of the rap group. What's it? Oh man, I can't think. But anyway, there's this. I can't remember. It's something the space traveler or something like that. And he dresses up as a gray, but it's weird because he looks exactly like a real gray. You know what I mean? It's almost like things like how could he be it looks so real is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're using it, but he did a whole podcast where he was sitting in the studio with these guys, and it was
it was fascinating. If anybody knows the name of that little dude, like let me know. Like he pretends like he's a rapper, but he's like an alien. You know, it's
Wow.
funny. Like
Well, and I would like to know if the great, like, again, have any of you had any dreams or abduction experiences, or are they still here? Because when I like the information that's coming out about the Greys, and then the image that your commander in chief sent out, I thought, I wonder if they're back. So, because it appeared to me that a lot of the experiences and UFO footage, early footage, was basically centered around the Greys. Like even in all the X-File shows, they basically just showed Greys, and so this Six of Cups, I'm hearing like that they were around earlier on, the mantises,
yeah,
but they're not really here as much anymore because we got 2 pages, which is a really like, there might be some younger ones that kind of pop in to do some homework and take back the information, because they can shapeshift as well and they can travel multidimensionally. But I'm not getting a big yes about anything about what we just asked. Like there's no, except for this one, which is the shapeshifter time traveler card. So it doesn't look like whatever role they did have, that doesn't appear to be current, which is good news. Yeah, which is good news.
I wonder what they're doing to us. That like our memory is so bad for some reason. I don't know what's
well,
going
because we keep getting wiped, right? We keep getting wiped, and then we have the Mandela effect. So we all change and quantum jump as a collective, and then when we get to another timeline, like it's like the hologram, the holodeck is trying to recreate things for us, and then pieces of the original I think that's intentional too.
Yeah,
I feel like even the holodeck, like the changing of labels and different things that we remember, I feel like that's intentional to show us that we're on a new timeline, that things have changed. There was something that just happened to me the other day, and I was like, wow, I'm in a new timeline. I don't know if it was going into a store or where I went, but whatever happened was, I got that experience. So this is what they often say. They often say that we'll say as an example, you're going to see your mom, that you will leave your reality and you'll go to that reality, and the hologram is creating that reality so you can get there, right?
yeah.
And
I found them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so I really felt that on Saturday. I went to go look at a place, and when I walked in, I've been in this complex quite a few times, and when I walked in, it just felt different, and the usual person that showed it wasn't there either. And I thought, wow, I'm on a completely different timeline. Like, and I'm working with different people today. It's super interesting. So, so I don't know if anybody if anyone in the comments, if you've had an experience, please put it in caps so we can read it. Cause I'd like to look and see if they're still around. Cause I don't know if the Greys are around or if they're back. And Rob, before you get into showing us that image of that person, when Carrie's been on and she's talked about individual groups that are working in like the Pentagon and everything, does she say specifically what group they are?
She says they're the Anunnaki. She thinks the Anunnaki. She thinks the Anunnaki are running Israel, and she thinks they're exactly in Dimona, Israel, and they're underground. And she thinks they're walking the halls of the Pentagon. But she's not the only person to say that. Like
I know,
Gerald Clark used to say that as well. And like a lot of people think the Anunnaki are still they're right, kind of like running the Pentagon. Like they're the ones making the decisions behind the scenes. You know,
they are still here because I'm getting head pressure. Like when we talk about certain things, I get head pressure. So that's what came forward our show last week, that they are still here. When I was looking into the word Anunnaki, that sort of stands for multiple different races. So that Anunnaki intentionally could be the Greys, the Nordics, the Insectoids, and the Reptillians, all like as an umbrella, right? So that's why has anyone talked about what the Anunnaki look like? Or
well, there's a myth that like that maybe they didn't come from Nibiru, or maybe they came from Lyra, or whether they came from Nibiru or Lyra, that they were like a renegade race that like kind of formed of like multiple races that like kind of lost their place in the world or like the universe, and like they had to like repopulate somewhere else, so they came to Earth, and
there's a story that Aloha, I think his name was, he was kicked out of like somewhere, and he was one of the Anunnaki, obviously, and he was on a spaceship, I guess, and he was like, he found Earth or whatever, and then he told them that like he found this place with like massive amounts of gold, and then he like had a duel with Anu on Mars, and that Anu was like the father of Enki and Enlil, and supposedly he lost that duel, and that's what the face of Mars is. Supposedly that face of Mars is the face of Aloha, the Anunnaki guy, and so it's weird how people tie things to different things, you know. But yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of what they think about where they come from and stuff, you know.
Yeah, so because when I did research about the Anunnaki last week, Grok said to me, "Well, that's actually a term for anyone who's not from here."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, Grok has a good sense of humor." I was like,
"Yeah, but what it means is it means from those from that heaven came to earth. It means from those." Yeah, it's yeah, and like it's there's something else. There's another really important.
Like I'm hearing they could be considered the Watchers, or right. There's all these different labels for them, and I just had this image as you were talking about it with, like, I don't think Nibiru is a planet. I think it's a spaceship.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the word for the other word for Nibiru they say it means the crossing, whatever that means. You know,
yeah, like I just got this image of it's more of like they built something, like something was built that they could go to or transport to really easily, so that if they needed to be on planet here, they could be, or they could transport off planet and be, which would make sense then about that theory about Nibiru kind of like smashing into Earth. So maybe there was an argument at some point, and somebody said that that's what they were going to do. I'm just going to run the planet. I'm going to just run Nibiru in, but I'm getting something in my solar plexus, so they are around. Yeah. What did you want to show your photo of the?
I think it's hilarious. So I found out who it's. This guy's called Space God the Thug. You know, and he's supposedly a gray alien. He wears a do-rag. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's him on Killer Mike's podcast from Run the Jewels, and it was funny. Like, you know, it's. I think it's basically like it's basically when they had him on, he kind of teleported into the podcast, like, you know, like he just appears out of nowhere, and like, you know, he talks like he's a gangster rapper, but he's like a gray alien. It's hilarious. Like, it's really funny.
Well, isn't it funny too, though? Like they're grays, but in all of the like T-shirts and they're little green men. They talk about little green men. So I find that interesting. So I wonder if their skin like changed, was luminescent and changed colors or something, right? Because that's it. Like even though they were grays, people referred to them as little green men. And there's often, like, even when I met you, your little logo was it looked like a kind of a cool gray, but it was cooler.
Well, there was, like, you know, like Elena Danan, she did that book. It's called Alien Races, and then there's the KGB book of alien races. That's something everybody should get. The KGB handbook of alien races. Supposedly, the Russian KGB, like, you know, the mafia or whatever, they came out with a handbook of alien races. And like in there, they say there's multiple versions of grays, but then Elena Danan says there's like hundreds of versions of grays. You know, I know it's hard to believe what, you know, but I don't know, you know, like, but I think the ones that we deal with most are the ones from Zeta Reticuli, or that's the one. That's what they told Betty Hill when Barney and Betty Hill had that famous abduction experience back in the day. They pointed her, they showed her a star map, and they pointed to Zeta Reticuli.
I just learned about that too. I just learned about Betty Hill and the star map.
Isn't it interesting?
It's so interesting, and it's so interesting that I'm able to go and do research and have all this information come forward. I pulled out my Galactic deck.
Cool.
So so I'm gonna just pull in some cards about all the different kinds of grays. So nobody here online has had any abduction experiences. I'm kind of disappointed in you all.
I'm sure everybody has. I think a lot of them have. I mean,
I have a really like star sister who lives in Texas, and even when she lived in Seattle, she didn't have abduction experiences, but she always had these dream experiences of being on her grandma's property in Texas, and there was always some kind of battle going on in the background to do with all the grays. So I messaged her the other day, and I said, well, you and I both know, like, that wasn't a dream. You were being just given an opportunity to remember. But she would wake up exhausted. And I feel that there's a lot of us that have been involved in this on-Earth cleanup of everything that's happened.
Mahala 451, I just wanted to show you this. She says that's right, that there are many types of grays. So she agrees with us, you know.
First card I picked, Zetas. 32 linear thinking Zeta reticuli from the past. So they were one of the main races I'm hearing that came in early, that were around a lot early on. And what would be the equivalent of KGB in the US? Would that be the CIA?
Yeah.
Okay, so the CIA would also have a handbook because we all know that they competed. So that's true. So there were a lot of grays here in the past because the card actually says past. It usually says past, present, or future. Then I got 78, seeing the one, the earth in the future. Oh, is that another theory that the grays are from the future or from a future timeline?
That's a going theory that they're from a futuristic timeline or something. Yeah.
And wasn't that a piece that came out with Amy Eskridge that's gone? Like, didn't she talk about these future races and some of them did look like grays and they were like from thousands of years?
Yeah, I think what she's referring to originally came from Dan Durish. Dan Durish used to come on Kerry Cassidy and he talked about the J Rods, and then like the guy who had on yesterday, Frank Jacob, he used to talk about that too. But Frank like yesterday when he came on my show, he kind of traced back some of the stuff he was talking about. Like he didn't talk about any of that, and he went on something completely different. And I don't think he believes anymore. But no, but that's to going back to the original thing. I think they were called the P-52s, and there was one called a J Rod, and supposedly like we had contact with this J Rod. Dan Durish had it. Yeah.
So we've had a lot of gray exposure in the past. This was like, they came from the future to check out things. The Orion card came in as well. So they were also, these groups that we're talking about today are also very much part of the Orion Galactic Wars, which is still going on. I'm getting a head rusher again. And that is like Earth has been part of that. That's been all of these races that go up in this hierarchy. Everybody's been fighting over Earth the whole time. We're like the jewel. And we also have in the past Earth, and it's the Atlantean era, 48. And when I always look at it, like the Stargate systems that are kind of clunky now, but are we're still being like owned, accessible by and this is where I come up with the term dark ETs, where we just put the ones that want to control us here on Earth and don't want us to be free and sovereign. They keep wanting to tell us that we're not magical. No, you didn't see that UFO. No, you didn't have that experience, where so many people did. And that's how Coast to Coast came on, right? Like that's how Art Bell and everyone, like people could actually phone in and share their experiences, and that became like quite the thing. So in the past, I'm almost like hearing, because the grays in the past, that they were part and parcel with sort of unearthing some of the Atlantean technology that's being used now. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they did it intentionally. They could have been forced to do it. They're quite tiny, except for these tall. So had you seen these tall grays before? Because that image that you're
there's a experiencer. His name's Jim Sparks. He came on Art Bell back in he was on in 2008, but then he came on again, and I think the last time he was on was in 2008. During the end of when Art Bell, but he was on before that. He was on in 2001. But the important thing is he would talk about his abduction experiences, and he would talk about his experience with these grays, and what was interesting about Jim Sparks is he had full conscious recall of all his abductions, supposedly. I can't verify this, but and with this, he got to know the grays really well. They let him walk around the ship. They let him, so this is I can't verify any of this stuff, guys, but I'm just okay. And but what he said is, he said, when you get around like a tall gray or a reptilian, that they emit this kind of energy. He said that it's kind of paralyzing to the human condition. He said their energy is so intense that it can actually put us in overdrive. We're not used to it, or something like that.
That would explain. Yeah, I just got my God bumps, which is a yes, and that would explain why I felt the reptilian energy. And I thought I haven't felt the reptilian energy for a long time. So I was wondering kind of what they were up to, why they were sending that frequency out. So I feel like the reptilian and the gray energy is a frequency that can kind of control the population, put everybody into feeling off really quickly. So they could have even just there very well may not have been reptilian energy in my area, but they sent that frequency out. And I immediately felt it. It is paralyzing. It does. It really, it pushes our nervous system, which goes all the way up our spine. It kind of flips it into fight or flight.
Which planet? I don't. Someone's playing. I don't understand where music's playing from. Oh,
I think mine's all closed unless you have. Oh, are you still sharing one of your
that
windows?
was my computer. My computer was like somehow
Well,
my computer
it's
started playing a binaural beat. Like, like that's
I've got
crazy.
a million windows open, and I made sure that I stopped all of them, but I thought that could have happened as well. So,
Wow.
do we want? Yeah. So that's interesting. So I'd never seen a tall gray until that image came out last week, which was created by AI, but it was a signal. Like it
Yeah.
all, like if so, and also Steven Spielberg also was on a talk show last week talking about how disclosure is real, that all the information that is there is real.
Yeah.
And apparently he hasn't had any personal experiences. Well, no one even asked him where he got the information. Then how did he get the information, right? But he said even when he made the movies E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind in the mid 70s, that he knew that the information was real then, but that he couldn't share it, or was told not to share it, that it was real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
we have a Jason said there's been many people that have had experiences. I'm gonna put some of them up here. So I think Nancy Volker says she's had SSP and breeding experiments, and then she says and Starseed, and then we got a good comment from Mahala 451. She says Bella, last week I was so called by many abducted, and then there's K41 over on Rumble. She says I saw a ship very close. I went to walk closer and it moved over then down into a swamp next door. I love these. I love hearing these.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we should talk. I feel like this is going to be the big topic now for until we get to the next phase, whenever that is. So
I'd like to do a podcast where I just leave it open. Like I give the StreamYard link and anybody can come on and share their experience. I mean, I've kind of done that the last 7 years, but I mean, like to do it in one podcast where anybody can kind of just jump on and talk about their UFO or alien experience, like that would be cool. You know?
And it's historic, and it's going to help other individuals, because I feel like that's sort of this underlying thread that many of us have had some kind of experience, but we haven't felt comfortable enough to share it until now. Like I know some of us come on the shows and we talk about it, but even it's like I can't explain it. Like I've been able to talk about starseeds for years, but I still was feeling very protective of my UFO experiences.
Yeah.
Because they were my personal experiences that woke me up, and I feel like I was activated to help starseeds through that. And so how many other individuals went through abductions, went through these experiences, and were shunned and were told that it didn't happen. Like I said, I haven't had clients come forward recently, but if any of you have had recent experiences and you need help, I can go into the records and help you clear it and heal it and let it go, because that's what holds us into that lower frequency where we can't evolve. So even with me, with that reaction to the reptilian energy, I had to go into my records to heal it, because I thought I don't want to react to that energy. I want to be neutral. Like if someone shows up, I want to be neutral. I don't want them to be able to paralyze my energy. And it's just an old reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, I think more women have been used in like hybridization programs than men. Like I've heard stories of abductees saying that they woke up on a table and aliens had some device over their thing, and it was like taking stuff, and like same with women. You know what I mean? Like they take in eggs, and like it gets there's some horror stories out there about these hybridization programs.
Yeah, I think both sexes were used because they were analyzing. They were analyzing it, and then there were breeding programs, and some stories are the breeding programs were not from the races, that the races were being used by the other groups, the Illuminati, that they were the ones that actually wanted to do the crossbred breeding programs.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. I think it's going to be a very big healing experience for all of us, because I do feel, so as much as we're all excited about disclosure, what I asked on my live yesterday, are you all ready to see reptilians or insectoids or grays? Like, are you ready to see these beings like suddenly just show up in front of you like that? It's going to traumatize a lot of people, even people in our community, because if a lot of people have gone through abduction experiences and it's not fully healed yet, we're going to have a reaction to that for sure.
I would love to have an alien on my podcast. That would be hilarious. Like,
well, we're all aliens. We're all hybrids anyway.
Yeah, we're all starseeds. Yeah, but I would love to actually, I don't know.
Maybe they'll have their own. Maybe they'll have their own podcast. But yeah, you and I can look at a show where we just we didn't do it today, but where we could have call-ins. Like I think it would be really important for people to call in and share their stories, and hopefully, like I would think like the last time I did a call with someone who'd had multiple abduction experiences, they had sort of stopped around 2022 and 23. So that's why I'd asked if there was anyone had experienced it recently, because I'm thinking, well, that would be interesting to know that it's either still been ongoing, or maybe there's been a branch of some of these government operations that wanted to carry on the breeding, the scientific aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
I dated a reptilian. Yeah, me too. Didn't know it at the time, but that's okay. That's how it works. Yeah.
Mahala in the chat said that she had a checkup from from the Greys the other day. So I don't know.
Can you bring that up?
Let me see. I gotta find it.
And then
I'm using my other computer. So
okay. I was thinking mine wasn't recent. It's back in '92. Okay. Because that's what I wanted to know. I'm trying to piece together.
Here she says I've been abducted since I was 2 years old. It's not new to me. So
Mahala, are you still going through abduction experiences, or is it over?
Yeah, that's what she said here. She says last week on the 20th I had a health check from the Greys.
Wow. Okay. Can I pull some cards around that? Do you mind? Because
let's do it. I think that'd be interesting.
Wow. So you're the first individual that I've known that it's still going on.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people that are still dealing with it, like alien contact, yeah.
Okay. So right off the bat, 5 of Swords. So what I asked in my head telepathically was, what do we need to know about this experience that you're going through? So it's part of the galactic spiritual battle that's still going on Earth. It's like it's an agreement between these groups that are, they were giving us kind of a Disneyland experience in real life, but in actual fact, like what you've been experiencing, unfortunately, 9 of Wands. Believe it or not, the program is coming to an end, but I'm also hearing that the Greys they're having so many problems with their own race. They're having so many health issues with their own race. That's some of what they're looking at. So that makes sense too. Like if they're future versions of ourselves and they've gone through something horrendous, they're trying to figure out maybe what happened as well. It doesn't make it right, but it's 9 of Wands. So it's coming to an end, that program, but it looks like at the moment it's still happening. And eventually the battle's going to be over and they're not going to be allowed to do it. And you're going to be sovereign and free, Mahala. Like that's the thing. The Empress is one of the best cards in the deck, where that's when we talk about claiming our sovereignty and taking our sovereignty back, like you, for some reason, have an agreement with this group. And it doesn't mean that it's conscious, and it doesn't mean that your human self agrees with it, and it doesn't mean that you own it, but there could have been an agreement made from your lineage. There could have been an agreement made from you. I have cleared so many crazy agreements from the dark ETs from other lifetimes. Like I always know when things come to a screaming halt in my life that there's something going on that happened that I didn't. So even for me on my journey, even last year when things started to really get crazy for all of us, when I looked into it, I had made like 12 crazy agreements with all these dark ET groups just to get here to Earth, knowing that when I got here, I could heal it. So you brought up a really good point. So if any of you are going through these experiences, you do not have to go through these experiences, and I can actually clear the agreements on your behalf. But we're sovereign beings, and that's why my life kind of got crazy, because I basically kicked them all out. And I've actually got a sovereign group that works with Source, but I still check in every day and make sure that my group is still aligned with Source. Because like all of you, we've been messed around so much. Even with our guides, we were messed around because some of them were masking to be good guides, but they were still working for these other ET races. But this is where we're all heading. Sovereign, free, no more checkups where they're not supposed to be doing that. But I almost think I want to just do some clarification cards. I just want to ask in general what else we need to know about this situation. Eventually, the power and sovereignty will be brought back to the people. We have temperance. That is including you as well. Thank you all as well for being so brave and sharing your experiences today, because I didn't know that it was still going on. And we have the Fool. So we are moving towards a free and sovereign timeline by source, to not have these experiences anymore. Yeah. Like, I know individuals in many of the communities who are not in their integrity, who are working on behalf of these ETs and looshing off of people.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a wake up for me as well. That's not good. So So I mean, really,
Here's she responded. She said her experiences have been very complicated. She said up above that she said they haven't really bothered her, which is like, it's weird because some people you'll hear horror stories about hybridization and like they feel violated, right? Because like if you get taken out of your sleep and you get taken on a craft and they're taking semen from men and eggs from women, that's a violation. I feel, like
I think it is
you
too.
didn't ask for that.
They haven't harmed you, but maybe you have an agreement from another lifetime before you came in that they could come in and check in on you, and maybe your agreement is very benevolent.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So when we incarnate with our families, all of our families, we all have some kind of ET hybridization. We definitely have, all of us have reptilian genetics, because that's how they controlled us this whole time. Like, this back brain is called the old brain, and it's also called the reptilian brain. With the Anunnaki, they shut down a lot of our high-powered DNA superpowers so they could keep us under control. But we're kind of busting out of that now. We literally are like Superman. We're just like ripping it apart, just by setting positive intentions, keeping our vibration high, saying no to things. And I'm glad that they're not bothering you, but I'm feeling that that's a good thing. And unfortunately, it's not for everybody. But it is still a violation as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't want someone checking up on me.
Yeah, this is a good question. This is from Dan Guest. He says, how can we tell the difference between dreams and memories?
So that's a really good question. And what we can do is, I always find it's really good to navigate your dream time. So it's really a good thing to set your intentions before you go into sleep state. I don't always do it, because sometimes I get knocked, like Rob, I just work a long day and I just get knocked out. Like, I get knocked out, but I do try to set something up saying, like, if I go into sleep time, that I'm protected and that I'm only surrounded by my benevolent guys. Like, I never enjoyed being out in the astral, just like flying around and having these weird experiences with these beings. It's like, no, they're waiting there for us. That's what they're doing. So I learned that really early on. It depends what you mean by memories, because sometimes what will happen is we'll go into a scenario where we have maybe family members that have passed away, and it might be set up like in a location like your home, your childhood home or something, to have a visitation. Oh, I see what you mean too. And about memories. It's usually a little bit of both, I find. If we remember our dreams and it brings something up, it's usually a little bit of both. It usually is a healing. Especially if it's related to any T races or anything like that. It's a memory and a dream. So a dream would just be like, that's what we call it. We call it, oh, I went and had a dream. But sometimes the dreams aren't positive, and I don't like those at all. So I started redirecting my dream time away from that a number of years ago. Yeah. And I will always say to my team, if something's going on, I would much rather like spend my dream time like being healed by source light, or on one of your light ships having a meeting. I have a lot of meetings, and I don't always remember them, but I have a visit, like a memory of that, right? Like an imprint. So the one thing I would share with all of you is, please take the time to direct where you want to be when you're sleeping. Yeah, because we are protected, but we're sovereign, but we also have like free will. You know, that's part of our awakening. And as an example, if you're being abducted, you can say, I don't want that anymore. I'm a sovereign being connected to source. I don't want to be abducted anymore. So you can't come near me while I'm sleeping. Yeah. I'm going to go here and be with this group. So it took me a long time to find my group. So my group are the Arcturians, but it took me quite a while to find them. And I found them by trial and error, trying different groups.
Are they blue beings or something?
Yeah, yeah. And it's crazy. I'll send this to you. Somebody recently just did like our astrology chart and like what kind of ET being you would be. And I'm Gemini, and Arcturians are with Gemini. And I just worked with all these different groups as trial and error, like because when I do people's charts, like we have all these different aspects. So I started with the Pleiadians. At some point, I did work with the Sirians, and then also the Lyrans and the Andromedans. Andromedans are like my main family, but they're so high frequency. And I even asked them something today, like, "Are you able to help me with this like 3D stuff?" And they went, "No, not really. Go back to the Arcturians." So the Arcturians are like, they've been us. So they've been on Earth. They can help with things like that. They can kind of be this higher perspective and that kind of thing. But it was trial and error for me, and I think it's for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. But I still have to do my Earth thing. No, they're not down here doing it for me. Just like everybody else. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this was I think like, we kind of covered everything. I don't know. We've been going about an hour and a half. I know you said you have another show, right? Like,
yeah, I'm on with Anchor Haven.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on her show, so that'll be really cool. I wanted to say Angel Haven for some reason because she has the little image with the wings. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, and I think you and I have a show next week anyway, like a regular show, but I wanted us to do like a report because there's so much going on. So it's just going to get more every week, everyone, there's going to be so much information coming at us.
Yeah.
Like it's only Tuesday, and they very well could drop another round of files on Friday. We don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. You want to tell everybody where they can find you, and thanks.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great to be here. And thank you everyone for sharing your experiences. That really meant a lot as well. So now I've got more information looking into the records. So I'm my website, alohapinkbella.weebly.com, email alohapinkbella@gmail.com. I have a gratitude offer on right now for a 60-minute session or any package. I also have my deep dive community this week. So anyone can join that. You just have to sign up on my website. And basically what's coming forward right now is the disclosure piece is huge. Like there's a lot of triggers coming up for everyone, like I shared even with me. So I actually will be assisting you all moving forward, anyone who books with me, with this disclosure piece. Because some of you, this is your mission. Like it's wake up, like we're not waiting for disclosure anymore, we're in it. So that's how we've shifted. Since May 8th, we're actually in disclosure now. Like we've moved into another timeline. It's splitting up a lot of people in the community. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, no, I like UFOs, but I don't think there's aliens." Well, yeah, I think that we're going to start seeing them. So it's going to happen. That's why it's been on mainstream. So I think people like we've been sharing have already been seeing them and experiencing them. So that's going to be part of my sessions. I'll be able to go into the records, bring in a piece for you, why maybe, like the lovely soul, maybe why you've been having those experiences and what your mission is. So everyone, it is a big piece that we're all healing right now. It's been bringing up lots of triggers for me as well.
Awesome. This was a great show. Yeah. Well, thank you, Pink Bella. And thank you guys for all tuning in. I'll be live again at 6 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern. But then check out the show that Anchor Haven and Pink Bella are doing. And I'll see you guys tomorrow or tonight. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Good night.